Welcome back to the D&D Talk Wrestling Podcast, Episode 2. You guys thought we were one and done. Now we're here for life.
And we did our best impression of the Dudley Boys, and we went and got ourselves a table. What do you think?
I like that. That was pretty good.
A lot more comfortable, right?
A lot more comfortable. This is so much better. Now we're not breaking our necks. So
Shout out to all our friends that gave us some positive feedback on this as well. So we're taking it. We're running with it. Hopefully we're going to make it better for you in the future. So before we get into everything, had an interesting thing happen to me last night.
Oh boy.
So I was doing some laundry and I ended up washing my wallet.
I've done that before.
Yeah.
I've done that more than once.
I didn't know until I was taking the stuff out, right? I go look at the bottom of the washer. There's my wallet just sitting in there and everything. I don't know if I really should be talking about this on online though.
Why?
I don't know. Should I be telling the internet that I've been laundering money?
Oh my God, I'm done. Peace, I'm done. Bye. He's by himself.
No,
I'm out.
It's okay. It's okay, IRS. My money's clean.
Oh, IRS. I'm funny. I'm glad you said IRS.
Okay.
So I saw this thing. IRS and The Undertaker should have been a tag team called Death and Taxes.
That would only two.
That's the only two things you
only two guarantees in life.
Yeah, that's it. Death and Taxes.
There we go. Shout out to Rotundas.
Shout out to Rotundas.
And Mark Calloway. So, let's get into what this episode is about today. Greatest rivalries in professional wrestling. I'm going to be looking down once in a while. Got a bunch of notes out. We both do. We're not going to be able to go straight off the dome with a lot of this stuff, but we put some research into it, and this is our thoughts on what the greatest ones are of all time. So, who do you want to get started on this?
Before we get started with all that, I want to do, well, we talked about it. We want to do a shout out to California, because I know there's a lot of wrestlers that live in California through the fire, through everything. I saw a tweet last week from Anthony Bowens from AEW. He wasn't able to go to Collision because they had to evacuate the house, him and his boyfriend.
Wow.
Yeah, it's bad. So shout out to California and everybody out there. I know it's bad, but it will get better eventually.
No, that's a really good call. There's a lot of things happening, not only to wrestlers, but to just people too. And yeah, our thoughts are with everybody that's going through all that. So,
if you hear some rumbling, creaking in the video, the secret tag team Hornswoggle goes underneath the table. If you happen to hear anything like that, we decided to do. So we're on the hunt for 100 subs. So we're gonna do hopefully, I want to do 20. I want to get 20 by his birthday. His birthday's in about a month. I want to see if we can get 20 subs by his birthday. My birthday's in June. If we can get 100 subs by June, we're going to do a $100 gift card to either WWE Shop AEW, Pro Wrestling Tees, any kind of wrestling related website. Maybe even Barstool. I don't know. We'll see. That's if we can get 100 subs by June. Hopefully we can. And if it's okay with you, I want to do a little cheap heat for myself. Not cheap heat for myself, but a little chasing the hug for myself.
oh, what's that? You know what? The floor is
so down below. You're going to see...
I was tired. I needed a nap.
Good. That's fine. Okay. Down below, you're going to see a link for another YouTube page called Pixie Dust Chronicles, which is my other YouTube channel. That's also doing a giveaway, which I thought of because I stole it from this one. I can't really steal from myself, but that's just my other page that talks about Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, stuff like that. So if you're a Disney nerd, go follow that channel too.
No, that's good. That's good. Go check out his page. It's some really good stuff there, and I don't blame you at all for... using this podcast and me to help promote that.
I promoted our podcast on my channel, okay? I did.
Oh, did you?
If you watched the video, you would know, but I guess you didn't watch the video.
I didn't have time.
I feel like there was something else I wanted to do.
I was too busy with laundry, remember?
Yeah, you were laundering money.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm glad you were able to get your wallet out of the laundry.
I'm just glad you are able to hear us. So, do you want to get into these rivalries now?
Yeah, let's get into these rivalries now. I know you got more than I do. Turn my screen down here a little bit. If you want to go first, because I know you.
Because at least there's no awkward dead time that was just happening.
Who
right
cares?
There.
They don't care. Nobody pays attention.
Nobody pays attention to our videos. We're just background noise.
That's all it is.
Yeah. Shout out to my fiance who was using us as background noise as she was, I think, folding laundry, possibly, maybe doing something else. But yeah.
I would say something, but I'm gonna be quiet. Just smack me.
Glad to be there for you. So, I'm gonna go number one on my list. what I got going
You
here.
wait. You have. I don't have mine. I just have mine as I was thinking of them.
Oh no, mine.
You don't have like a ranking. So unless we say ranking, it's never going to be a ranking. It's just going to be whatever we can.
Yeah, whatever our lists are, whatever we have down is in no particular order. It's just as it came to us, really. There's no, in my book, I have a bunch of them written down here. There's no one that stands out more than any other. But yeah, it's just kind of how they came to us and how we got them written down. So should I?
Yeah, cool. I mean, go ahead. Yeah, you got a lot more than I do.
Should I do my best Michael Phelps and dive right into it?
Sure, go ahead. Don't do a little stuff beforehand though.
I'll be a gold medalist like Kurt Angle. So number 1, I got Undertaker versus Kane.
That's a good one.
Yes,
That's always gonna be a good one.
Just one of the best stories, really, in wrestling. You have this unbeatable, crazy force in the Undertaker, and has a brother that he didn't know about. Comes back during In Your House in 1997, Hell in a Cell match against Shawn Michaels. Kane debuted. Came in and you could see, like, the storytelling of that match was the best part of it, because you could see on the Undertaker's face on how scared he was. And, I mean, up to that point, Taker was never scared, really, of anybody.
Yeah.
And I think that's really... I actually, on Undertaker's podcast, I saw they were talking about it, and he said that moment of him looking scared when Kane came in was really what set the tone for the whole rivalry.
I mean, that shows his little bit of humanity because he was the...
Yes,
the dead
exactly. Not only that, they really introduced one of the craziest matches, I would say, gimmick matches in wrestling history.
Buried Alive match?
The Inferno match.
No, the Inferno match.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, also, you gotta give a note to Paul Bearer during that as well. He was amazing for it. Turning on the Undertaker, bringing Kane in, and his whole part in that whole thing was just fantastic. I think that was one of the best storytelling rivalries of all time. So
that's a good one. I'm gonna get a cheap one out of the way. WWE versus WCW.
Okay.
I don't know if I just thought that was like one of the... As soon as I heard of Rivalry, 86 weeks? 84 weeks? I can't even think of the number now.
The WCW was on top?
Yeah. Which is bad. I can't even think of the number, which is bad because that's Bischoff's podcast name. But that's got to be one of the top ones. Yeah, it's a company versus a company, but you have to have a rivalry, and then you end it with being bought out by the people you were beating for so long.
I mean, if you want to do a cheap rivalry, you can always say Vince McMahon against the Territories.
You could. Vince not Senior.
No,
right?
Senior
Vince
worked
Jr.
with the Territories.
Yeah,
Vince Jr. is the one that made it mainstream and started.
Go by all of them.
Yeah. You made that face. I
was like,
there. No,
okay.
We're not talking about any of that stuff.
We're not doing that right now.
We're keeping this upbeat. This podcast. We're not going over there. But anyways, next on my list, I have Stone Cold versus The Rock.
I was gonna put that down, but I had a feeling you were gonna have that.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that, or
that? I mean, the culmination of the wrestling match where they technically both retired, but not really.
Like overall, it was a trilogy.
Yeah.
The Rock ended up coming out on top because the last match that they had together was when Stone Cold retired. They fought for the world title. They fought for the Intercontinental title. And really, honestly, to non-wrestling fans, it's two of the biggest stars in wrestling history. Just in that rivalry together. I think that alone makes it one of the top of all time.
I mean, not everybody, but a lot of wrestling fans will know The Rock if you say Dwayne Johnson. But a lot of them, I know a lot of them were good, but even like the movies Austin was in, a lot of people are gonna know who he is.
Well, I mean, a lot of people, even in your world, the Disney people know The Rock.
Right.
Yeah. You're welcome.
For what?
Maui, bro, come on.
Oh, I think you're telling me I'm welcome.
See what I gotta do.
Speaking of that, Cody was just in Magic Kingdom the other day, and I kind of wish I was there. I'm gonna get all the weird, not one-on-one rivalries out of the way. WCW versus NWO.
Okay. That was a good one.
I don't know why a lot of my friends were more DX. I was more NWO. I was still a DX fan. I was a huge DX fan, but I was always more NWO. Because you can even break it down to Sting versus NWO rather than all of WCW.
That's interesting you said that because one of mine on my list is Sting versus the NWO.
You could make it Sting versus NWO. DDP versus NWO was a good one.
Yeah.
There wasn't, was there? Why I feel like there was a Bret Hart versus NWO a little bit.
Bret Hart was against everybody.
Well, yeah.
At some point.
Bret Hart was against himself because Bret screwed Bret. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, WCW versus NWO. Just the stuff that is what took them over the top to take the ratings for the year and a half they were doing it.
And let's not forget with the WCW versus NWO, Sting versus NWO, that match when Sting finally wrestled after his like almost year-long lurking in the shadows and the rafters was at Starrcade. And
nothing beats when he takes his mask off and he's got the Sting mask on underneath still.
That match where Sting was probably supposed to win, but Hogan had other plans.
Like the finger poke of doom. That's what I think. The finger poke of doom is what ruined WCW. I think if they didn't do that, I don't think they'd be here now in 2025. But I think they would have lasted longer than they did. The finger poke of doom was just terrible.
I agree. A lot of the booking in WCW was absolutely terrible.
No, a lot of the booking.
Hey, since we're on the topic of WCW, I'm gonna kind of roll with it. And I got Eddie versus Rey Mysterio.
I was looking for an
Eddie
WCW.
one.
I wanted an Eddie one.
A lot of people. I read a lot of articles. A lot of people consider their match at Halloween Havoc as like one of the greatest matches of all time.
I mean, Dom wore the outfit. Didn't Seth wear the outfit too against Ray at one point?
Seth has worn a lot of outfits. So.
Yeah, but I mean, Dom wore that outfit.
It's very hard to nail that down. Obviously, there's a lot more that's happened with these rivalries, but we don't want to go like insanely.
We can be
deep
here
into
We can be here all day talking about rivalries.
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's hard enough to keep your attention, anyways. We want to keep it on a shorter end. So if we're missing some things, fact checking on some things, my boy here. What was it last week that shout out to Mo for
shout out to Mo because I called Travis Scott, Lil Uzi Vert like 4 times. Somebody didn't call me out on it. But shout out Mo. Mo did. I don't know what I was thinking.
I don't usually pay attention to him.
Yeah,
but,
we're gonna have to get a teleprompter up here of what we're saying because I don't know what I was thinking. And you know what it was? I was contact high through the TV, like Drew said.
Oh, well, from the entrance. Yeah,
yeah, that's what it was.
Well, thanks, big man, for that shout out. And to correct you on that.
So my next one is going to be Cactus Jack versus Terry Funk.
Ooh.
Because that went ECW. That technically went New Japan even. That was... I mean, Mankind's had some rivalries. But I think the Cactus Jack Terry Funk one was better. I don't want to say because, that was before he swan dived off of Hell in a Cell. But... that was one of the few ECW things that I remember. I don't remember a lot of stuff from ECW. That and like 2 or 3 other rivalries. Because it was on at like midnight or 1 o'clock or whatever when we were little. But I've never been... I was never a Mick Foley fan. But then going back and watching some of those matches, I was like, okay, these guys, like, they're crazy. It's really...
I think Mick Foley had that aura about him. Kind of.
That's what we're doing now. We're doing aura. Is that what? Is that?
You'll get where I'm going with this, but Mick had that like everyday man type, presence about him. He did. Kind of like a Dusty.
I was just gonna say that.
Kind of like a Dusty. Dusky. Whoa.
Hey, I mean.
Words are hard, everybody. Just so you're aware.
It's early. So.
Just kind of like Dusty. The blue collar, like. Any of us could have been Dusty. No, not everybody could be Dusty. That man was legendary, but you know what I'm saying. We could all picture ourselves as that. So That's why I think Mick really connected with everybody in all of his personas.
Side note: what's your best Mick Foley thing ever?
My favorite.
Yeah.
Do you mean favorite character or favorite moment?
Favorite moment from Mick Foley.
I mean, favorite moment. I think.
I know what you're gonna say, but I have a funny one too.
Actually, the Hell in a Cell is probably widely considered his best moment. This Is Your Life, the segment.
I thought you were going to say the introduction to Sacco.
No, the This Is Your Life is hilarious.
The Royal Rumble where we had all 3 personas, one after the other.
Oh,
that's probably my favorite like Mick Foley thing.
Yeah. Dude Love was hilarious.
Dude Love was hilarious.
But I did like the Mankind character too, though. Like for the time, that was pretty innovative. To have like this deranged, crazy person, and then realize what Mick is in real life. Like the man loves Christmas, like all year round.
He goes to Knoebels.
He's at Knoebels. Like,
he loves Knoebels.
Yeah, he has his like personal golf cart that they drive him around in.
I would love to see
him.
I'm going to go back more just
to
see him there.
So what do you think? Going into another one? You want me to hit one?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so actually, we were just talking about Dusty, so I'm gonna say Flair versus Dusty.
That's a good Flair one.
Yep, that was in NWA. Literally, just two of the most popular wrestlers at the time, and you had such different personas. You had Flair, the flashy, the superstar, the megastar, and kind of like we just said about Dusty being the blue-collar, hard-working guy.
He's just a common man.
Yeah, doing things with his hands.
Whoa.
Well, hey, pause. No, this is PG. We're not going there. Don't worry about that. And that rivalry spanned decades through several different promotions. It wasn't just like a one-off type thing. Like they always had that fantastic chemistry together just to make it work.
Right.
Regardless where it is. So
I'm gonna have one that's not on my list, but it's a recent one, and I remembered it just because I pulled the shirt out today. Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Adam Page.
Oh, we're going recent. Okay.
We're gonna go recent. I'm gonna go recent with that one only because I don't have it on my list. I remembered it. For you to burn down another man's house, that has to be an epic rivalry. They were fighting over the AEW title. Swerve could never beat Hangman by himself. He always needed help from Brian Cage or... Oh my god, I can't think of the name of the tag team that are Samoans that are probably going to kill me. Or he would use bricks. They had a Texas death match. But then once Swerve became the AEW champ, he took that money and bought his childhood home for his mom. And the next thing you know, you see Hangman on the screen talking, saying whatever, and he lights a match, and Swerve's house just goes up in flames behind him. And that kicked it off even more. But for you to sit there and just be in a rocking chair, sitting there rocking, and to light a house up behind you, there's got to be something wrong with you.
I mean, it's so funny that you mentioned all that because, like, where's the love for the Wyatts? And then Randy Orton burned down their compound?
I mean, I don't have that. I mean, I don't have Orton versus the Wyatts.
Me neither. I was just saying it's kind of similar to that story.
It is kind of similar to that story.
And the rocking chair, too. That's what kind of made me think of it.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't an outdoor. I think it was like one of the indoor like recliners, like rocking chairs. It wasn't like a wooden one.
More fancy.
Yeah,
like
more
a lazy
fancy.
boy.
Yeah, like a lazy boy.
Oh. So I'm gonna go a little out there on this next one.
Oh yes. These are the ones I wanted to hear.
Yeah, we're going a lot of one-on-one type rivalries. This one I'm doing tag teams.
Okay.
And you're gonna immediately get it as soon as I say it. Hardys versus Edge and Christian versus the Dudleys.
Oh, absolutely.
Honestly, just revolutionized tag team wrestling.
Absolutely.
At that point, I don't think tag wrestling was what it is now or what it should have been. I mean, there's a lot of talented tag teams over the years, but I mean, those three just put on clinics. I know it started with the Hardys and Edge and Christian, and then once the Dudleys got involved, it just hit new levels. And obviously the invention of the TLC match, the first ever
TLC match.
Yeah.
That rivalry made me want to be a tag. Like before that,
just made you want to be a tag team. Just you
made me want to be in a tag team. Like before that, I just like even like making yourself your character. Like I always wanted like the world. Like I would start with like the Intercontinental, the U.S., whatever. Go to the world title.
Oh, you're talking about like wrestling games?
Yeah,
like,
I would. After that point, I think it's cooler to be a tag champ.
See, I kind of agree. I've always loved tag team wrestling. I always talk about that. I always talk about factions. That's going to be an episode, and
I'm a good episode.
Super excited about that one. No, I agree with you. I think tag wrestling is awesome.
I feel like those three made tag wrestling what it is. I mean, they'll tell you that. Jeff Hardy's also going to tell you, if he didn't do drugs, he's better than John Cena. But we're not going to talk about that right now.
No, we're not going to talk about that right now. Shout out to Jeff Hardy's fantasies. That's a wonderful thing. John Cena obviously is probably going to go down, if not one of the top 3 GOATs. So
I think so.
Yeah, there's no arguing that point. And I'm not even the biggest Cena fan. He is, if you couldn't tell by the way he wears his hat.
I didn't even wear a Cena shirt yet. I could probably
How many do you have?
I got rid of a lot. I used to have
You got rid of a lot.
I used to have just a drawer full, and then my friend's stepson got into wrestling, and I was like, cool, here's all my Cena shirts.
So your closet looked like Fruity Pebbles then. Yeah, I'm stealing some of the
Yeah,
Rock's
no,
material.
yeah. It did. It's better than all my. I hate open up the wrestling drawer and it's all black, and now there's like 2 red, there's a white.
That's literally my drawer.
There's like a
it's
blue.
like black, dark blue.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't like colors.
I think it's
Don't work on me.
I have a white Punk shirt, this shirt, and then like 2 or 3 color Cena shirts. Everything else is black shirts. I think a gray Sting shirt too. Whatever. Tangent. Since you did a triple, I'm gonna do a triple. Old school TNA, AJ versus Christopher Daniels versus Samoa Joe.
Okay.
And you can go looking it up. You can even go AJ versus Daniels, AJ versus Joe, Joe versus Daniels, and then they all started going for the X Division title. They had an amazing cage match for the X Division title, and then once they started getting known, they just transferred up to the world title in TNA. And I think, obviously, there's more people, but if those 3 weren't in TNA at that time, I don't think it would have did what it ever did. I don't think it would have. It wasn't the competition, but when it went Monday against Raw lost some viewership. I think there was like an hour of overlap. People were watching TNA a little bit more than they were watching Raw. And I think it's because of what they were doing back then.
No, I mean, I agree with you because those 3 in essence are kind of like, I mean, they were never at the level of Attitude Era wrestling, but
Right.
like they were like The Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H
Right.
type guys.
That's
the top of the
their-
company.
right.
That's their like top
That's
3.
That's their. I don't want to use this word. Some use it later. That's their front line of hey,
Oh, is that a spoiler?
maybe if I decide to talk about it, if I can remember who they were going against.
Oh, well, let's just hope your memory works out with us.
I mean, I'll just cheat a little bit and not pay attention to you when you talk like normal.
Well, you know what's even better is when he doesn't steal the jokes that I tried to say earlier. But, I take that as flattery, so
That's fine.
yeah, you're welcome. So let's see here. I'm going to go into something that has more than one person, but it's one versus many. Daniel Bryan versus The Authority.
That's a good one.
I thought,
That's a really good one.
I mean, we all know the outcome of that. Bryan ended up winning the championship, but the fight to it and overall the fans like presence in the whole rivalry.
When they got into the ring, when he was doing the yes chant, they all had the shirt on.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Like, the fans are really, obviously, Bryan's talent, right? I mean, he's fantastic in the ring, but the fans really pushed behind that, too. And that was one of the times you really seen, like back in the old school eras, it was like, we're going to give the fans what we think they want.
Right.
And that was a point where it was like, no, the fans got exactly what they wanted. And it was, the ultimate underdog type story. I love that. That's one of the things that stuck out to me.
That's a good one. Because you can even, it's not a rivalry, but you can even mirror that with Kofi Mania.
Yeah.
Because it's almost the exact same thing.
Yeah.
That's real. I really like that. I was trying to think of it.
I really think Kofi should have had a longer run.
And had better match than losing 8 seconds to Lesnar, but
Yeah.
that's probably the last. Hopefully, that's the last time his name says on this podcast, but probably not.
I'm not going to say anything negative about Lesnar. He could throw me like a lawn dart.
I mean, his daughter can throw you like a lawn dart.
He is a mountain of a person.
I know.
Yeah.
This is kind of like one that I said before: TNA versus Aces and Eights. It's kind of WCW versus NWO.
A little bit.
But you can also break it down.
Different.
You could break it down to Bully versus Hogan, even Bully versus Jeff Hardy. Because Bully was on TNA's side when Aces and Eights came in, but he was secretly the president because Devon was in it, Taz was in it, Briscoe's kid was in it, somebody else that Bully trained was in it, and then it was when him and Jeff were in the ring and Devon tossed him the wrench, you knew right then and there, you're like, oh, he's turning on Jeff. He's not going to go against his brother. Because then he even married Brooke to be like, I got you, Hogan. I got everything. I got the title. I got your daughter.
Marriages in wrestling. That always turns out good, doesn't it?
Has there ever been a good one besides Hunter and Stephanie?
I mean, technically, didn't they do that in a drive-thru?
Yeah.
On TV.
On TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't.
Well, Indian, what's his name? Dexter.
Oh, yeah.
That's an okay one.
I guess so.
I mean, she's deported now, I think, but okay.
So I'm going to go into, since we're talking about a little older stuff, Taker versus HBK.
As a rivalry? I'm interested because I don't know if I know this rivalry.
I'm gonna look down a little at the notes on this one, but
I don't honestly don't know if I know this one.
Well, obviously, from the earlier rivalry with Undertaker and Kane, I mentioned the Hell in a Cell match. First ever Hell in a Cell match against Shawn Michaels.
Right.
That's where the rivalry kind of started. And they always had these like interactions since then. You had where HBK refed the match between Bret Hart and Undertaker.
Okay.
The title match. And then he went to swing at Bret Hart, missed, hit Taker, cost him the championship. You also had a moment in Royal Rumble. Then you had those 2 WrestleMania matches. The first one, am I mistaken with was that when Shawn lost his smile? Maybe? No?
I think it was before that.
But the last WrestleMania match
his
was
technically his retirement
match, yeah. So like it wasn't.
That's a good retirement matches is a good episode.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna put that. I know we're doing whatever. I'm gonna put that down in the notes.
We'll do like 11 episodes on Ric Flair's retirement matches.
I'm sorry, I love you is the best. I don't care.
Yeah, if he stayed retired, that would have been great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but there was so many different moments, and it spanned from like '97 all the way up until when Shawn retired. So like, I would put it in the more underrated.
We're not including the Saudi matches.
I don't want to.
Those were terrible.
Once again, I'm citing Undertaker's podcast as a source here, but he even said that like some of those matches were just.
I think
every
Taker work. Saudi match was terrible.
But yeah, I would say it's a more underrated rivalry, but there was a lot of things that happened and a lot of things in wrestling history that connect to that rivalry. It connects with the Bret Hart and Shawn, it connects with the Hell in a Cell, it connects with Shawn's retirement.
That's a good one. I don't know why I didn't think about that, because especially those 2 Mania matches were insane.
Yeah. No, they were fantastic matches. That was the one where like Shawn came down in the all white and Taker
from the
Taker with the flames. Yeah, it was like the whole heaven and hell like aspect thing. So
I'm gonna go with. I have a feeling you have this down. Orton versus Triple H.
I don't actually,
because the only thing the matches were amazing. I think that's when Orton started to punt people. Because he had Hunter handcuffed to the rope. Did he punt Stephanie and then kiss her, or was she just knocked out and he was going to kiss Stephanie in front of Hunter? You can't do anything if you're handcuffed to the ropes and this asshole is going to try and kiss your wife. I mean,
which is funny because like Triple H has always been known to be one of the best heels of all time.
I mean,
literally in that program he was not. It was Orton.
Yeah, but
Orton was like a better heel than him.
What sticks out to me in that rivalry is when Hunter went to Orton's house.
Oh yeah.
And threw him through the front window of the house.
Oh yeah.
That's like the main thing that sticks out to me in that rivalry. Not the punts, not him punting every McMahon, handcuffing Hunter. The main part is I remember him launching Orton out of that front window in his house.
Glass. I hope it was glass.
I mean, it might not have been. Who knows?
What was it made of? No, that was good. And I don't have this written down, but rivalries as a whole, you got to give a shout out to Triple H because
he's had so many
during that whole like time, like Attitude Era, even after in the Ruthless Aggression Era, he was the top heel, and his rivalries with a lot of the guys to just help put them over or Triple H more over. Like, I don't have anything specific written down, but
he's had them with everybody.
But honestly, if we're talking about top heels of all time, he's got to be up there.
I mean, it's like we said before when I said about TNA, Hunter, Austin, Rock. It's the 3 people when you think of Attitude Era.
Yeah.
I mean, that right there is a rivalry too. The 3 you could throw, how you said Austin and Rock before, you could throw Hunter right in there.
Yeah, you could put Hunter with the Rock, Hunter with Austin, Hunter in the tag team with Austin was awesome too, but well, since we were talking about HBK a lot,
I just cheated and I saw it.
You just looked over?
I think I know what
How
one
are you
going to
be cheating off my sheet like this?
I didn't mean to. I think I know what one you're going to talk about.
Oh, I had it this close because I wasn't even sure you could read. I got HBK and Bret Hart. like we don't even have to say anything.
No, you got to say
really
it's Montreal
about it.
screw job. Really,
It's a screw job. Like it was well known that those guys did not like each other at all in real life. They were professional. They always put on fantastic matches.
Right.
Well, it was professional up until the screw job.
To a point, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm Brett screwed Brett in my opinion.
No, 100% Brett screwed. Brett's too much.
Too
I
proud.
don't want to go. I don't want to have a Brett tangent. Too much of a whiner.
Well, he's too proud.
Yeah.
He didn't want to go out like that, but it's like a lot of wrestlers go out in their hometowns.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very rare you see someone go over.
Right.
In their hometown, yeah.
Especially back then.
Oh yeah, God yeah. They like the heat. They like the heat from it. Brett losing, Canada would have hated Sean not as much as they do now. Still,
right?
But
I mean, I have another. I don't have this one down, and it's kind of off of that one because I don't care about either person. Brett versus Goldberg was probably a good rivalry, but I don't care about either person. Brett is just a whiner. Goldberg's overrated.
Damn.
You're not gonna tell me you know Goldberg's overrated. We say it all the time.
Yeah. I mean, is it because of his ability or is it because of how he was booked?
Probably because I was booked, honestly.
I mean, Brett is Brett's biggest fan. I think we all know that. We even see that in interviews now. Like, yeah. I don't want to bash Brett because he was one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, but on the same token, it's like, how many times does Goldberg have to apologize for that? You know what I'm saying? Like, he genuinely felt bad about it, and obviously what came from it and him having a stroke and everything is terrible.
Right.
Don't wish that upon anybody at all. But yeah. I mean, that is a good rivalry though.
It is a good rivalry. It's just,
and we still hear about it to this day.
Yeah.
And like I told you, my thought process with the rivalries was things that changed professional wrestling. And essentially that rivalry changed.
That did,
because that ended Brett's career. So I mean, not a good change. It's a terrible change.
Right. Not every change is always going to be positive. Just more I'm doing. So my actual one, I'm going to go with, I didn't know it was a rivalry till recently, even though it was for years. Nigel McGuinness versus Bryan Danielson. Yeah. I knew nothing about it until they had their match recently in AEW. AEW did a whole, I don't think they showed it on TV, but they did a whole thing on YouTube of how it started in Ring of Honor, how McGuinness got mad that Bryan went to WWE before him. He thought he was always better than Bryan. Nigel finally got there, I think, being an announcer for NXT UK. I'm probably wrong.
Yeah. He
was an announcer. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, but he always thought he was better than Bryan. And then when Bryan won the title in AEW, he was like, "No, I'm better than you. I was always better than you. I want a title shot." It was going back and watching it. It was actually really cool.
I mean, low key, he was a pretty good announcer too.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I enjoyed his stuff. I'm gonna go a little back in time on my next one. A little back in time here. I'm going to go Flair versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
I have that one down. Remember how I said this morning? Oh man, I wrote this one down. I thought of it this morning. I already wrote it down.
Yeah. It's widely considered as one of the best trilogies in wrestling history. Obviously, the storytelling and the wrestling factor of it. Two of the biggest stars. And the Chi-Town Rumble is, like, I did a lot of research on different YouTube channels, different wrestling sites, and there's the same conclusion that the Chi-Town Rumble is considered one of, arguably, the greatest match ever. Like, even new people go back and watch that just to see, like, the storytelling, the everything. So right. I was thinking of another word. That's why I paused there for a minute. I couldn't. Oh, the in-ring chemistry.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a good chemistry.
They did. They had a fantastic chemistry. And those two are like, it's funny when you see young wrestlers, when they talk about who they watch and things, you always hear those two names come up.
Yeah, it's not on the top of my list, but I wanted to find and I thought it was. I was like, I want to find a Flair one. And when I looked it up, that was the first one that popped up was Flair Steamboat.
Yeah. And well, I mean, Steamboat also had that fantastic match with Macho Man too at WrestleMania. It wasn't that big of a rivalry, but it was. I
mean, most Mania matches back then were something spectacular. My next one, I'm gonna go with Trish versus Lita. I think before the women's revolution, that was the actual women's revolution. They could say it was the give divas a chance when Brie and Nikki had like a 12-second match with Paige or something. But I think if Trish and Lita didn't do what they did, especially, it's gonna sound bad, especially with all the Braun Panties matches and all that stuff. If they didn't go through what they did and ended the way that they did, there's no way any of these female wrestlers today would be what they're doing.
I wouldn't say it sounds bad. It's because at that time, women weren't seen as wrestlers.
Right.
Weren't seen as workers.
I mean, they were both valets.
They were valets. They were managers. They were just eye candy.
Right.
You know, the stupid gimmick matches and stuff like that. I agree 100%. You have Trish, you have Lita, and you had these other girls that came in too, like Jackie.
Right. I mean, they're Jackie,
Victoria,
Ivory, Victoria.
But I think those two, that rivalry, really started the women's revolution. And then once all these other girls came into play, like more recently,
right.
with like Stephanie McMahon pushing it, and like you said, with the Paige and with all them, that really like pushed it to the forefront. But without Lita and Trish.
I think without Lita, I mean, you probably could have did it with others, but I think they were pushing it to get actual mainstream.
Because not only were they were just insanely talented.
Right.
And they had personalities too. Like, it wasn't just, look at me, this is what I do. It was, they could talk. They were part of a story. Trish came in with TNA.
Right.
Test and Albert. Lita with the Hardys. So, like...
Lita with S.A. Rios. She came first. She was with S.A. Rios first.
Corrections. Then with the Hardys. But still, they were integrated in other things. Then finally got to break off on their own. And then once they got on their own, it was just like, wow. Like,
right. It was like, you were like, I didn't know they can do that.
Like, these girls can go. Because we were, I don't want to say we were trained, but, like, in the history of wrestling, you never really seen... You did see. There was a lot of good female wrestlers.
Right.
But there was a time in WWE where they kind of didn't showcase much.
They had 2-minute segments, and that was it for a 2-hour show.
Yeah, no ring time, no nothing.
Right.
So
it was a backstage segment where they're walking around and somebody's hollering at them.
Hollering?
Yeah.
Hooting
and hollering. Yeah.
My God. Can this get any more corny?
I'm sure it can, yeah. Because I know you told me you had corny rivalries. I want one of these corny rivalries.
I don't have corny rivalries. I have parody rivalries.
That's what I want. I want one of these parody rivalries.
You want one of these parody rivalries? I could go with you. Ready? I got number one parody rivalry that came to mind. Ready?
Okay.
Festus against the Ring.
Oh, I love it.
That's my number one.
I love that.
Yes. I could keep going. That
was fantastic.
Yeah. I don't know who won that rivalry, but that's been ongoing for years.
He's not doing it no more.
No, so I guess he
got with the Straight Edge Society and Punk took him off of drugs.
So he got put over then.
He got put over. That's I love that. That's fantastic.
Another one that I'm going to throw out there because we just saw a little snippet of it on Raw. Bayley and Michael Cole.
I have Bayley and Michael Cole. I love Bayley and Michael Cole.
Yeah,
that rivalry is great.
So good. Absolutely good.
To go along with that one, another new... I think it was only going on during COVID. New Day versus Corey Graves. They would always come out and take their coats off and throw them at Corey Graves. Every match. At the beginning of every match, Big E in particular would take his coat off and launch it at Corey Graves.
Man, I miss Big E.
I miss Big E.
Fantastic. You got time for another parody?
I love them. Keep going.
Scott Steiner versus Math.
Yes! I love it.
Yeah.
Steiner Math is the math training. That should be taught in school. Steiner Math should be taught in school.
I also have WCW versus their payroll.
I mean, you could do ECW versus their payroll.
I have Shawn Michaels versus Canada.
Shawn Michaels versus Hairline.
Or Hulk Hogan versus putting people over.
Oh, okay.
I thought I was going somewhere else. Nope, we're keeping this clean. We're keeping this clean.
I love the best. No, Festus versus the Ring Bell. That popped me. I like that. That was good. I mean, if you want to do a real one now,
they were real.
I mean, I know they were real, but
I mean, did you not see them? Did they not entertain you?
They very much. They still entertain. Bayley Michael Cole still entertains me.
Well, if we're gonna go into something real, this one's gonna be more recent. I'm gonna throw out Roman and Cody.
I don't have that one down, but I wasn't gonna forget that one.
Well, there's one that I haven't said yet that is going to be the most obvious to anybody, but...
Is me versus you a rivalry? Are we... Not yet?
If you keep talking like this, we're about to be a rivalry.
Cody versus Roman. Cody versus Samoa.
Well, I mean, the whole Roman thing to finish the story, like the way it started, and that thing took a long time to come to its conclusion, and I don't know, just the long term, the slow burn storytelling. Once again, like I said, with Daniel Bryan versus the Authority. Wow, can't talk today.
The Authority.
Here's the biggest rivalry: me versus the English language. There we go. I'm losing. Kind of like with DB versus the Authority. Just an underdog story. But I mean, two families that are deep enriched in wrestling, and Cody coming here for his redemption and winning the title because his dad never did, and just the work and Roman's work went like off the charts. Like, it was so good, and then seeing the cracks in the bloodline along the way, and how it just all intertwined together, and Paul Heyman involved in it, which anything he's in is going to be fantastic. Gold. Yeah, right. He does. I mean, it's still it's ended, but it's still going on right now. Yeah, I mean, because you had him. You had him like help out Roman for a little bit, but like Roman always had it there. Like, yo, I'm still coming for the title. Right. Just so you know, like, we might. So it's still going. You see, like SmackDown, Jimmy would tag with him, but like Roman's probably, what are you doing? Like, not even that, but I mean, it's still like, yo, we're still gonna be cool, but like the in game, like in the promo on SmackDown once again with Heyman, hey, like he's coming for the belt. He's entering the Rumble and he's coming. Do they do 3 years in a row main event? Same. I mean, let's look at a lot of these rivalries that we just talked about. A lot of them are trilogies. Yeah. I mean, technically, if you count the tag match, it'd be four main events right in a row. The two biggest stars of the company. I mean, how can you say people want to see it? People are tuning in to see it. We're talking about it. Right. We talk about it every day. We talk about it. Off camera, on camera. Yeah, so I mean, is it a good choice? Yeah. It's a fantastic choice. Until we stop talking about it, I feel like, not us, just, I mean, everybody in general stops talking about it, I think. Keep going with it. It's some of the best writing, some of the best storytelling I've ever seen. You know what? I have a parody one that I just thought of. Oh, what's that? R-Truth versus Common Sense. I mean, how many times the Royal Rumble match getting a ladder to try to win the Money in the Bank? Royal Rumble match hot tagging Dominic Mysterio. How many times has he gone out and said the wrong town? That dressed up when he had the 24. He made the 24/7 title. That title was a joke. Yeah. And he made the 24/7 title, dressing up as women trying to hide with the 24/7 title. He makes almost every segment he's in. Pete Dunne, Butch. I mean, he still thinks, to this day, he's in Judgment Day. That's hilarious. R-Truth versus Common Sense. R-Truth versus Common Sense. How about John Cena versus Little Jimmy? I mean, that's a good one. That could be a real good one. It'll have to be a dark match. Yeah, because you can't see either one of them. All right. Anyways, moving on. I'm going to go into a little ROH, Ring of Honor territory. Ooh. I'm going to bring up the Briscoes versus Steen and Generico. I have that. Do you really? I have that. Also known as Sammy and KO. So before we start, have you ever seen Sammy do an interview when they ask about El Generico? Yeah. When he's, oh, good, I heard he's down in Mexico with his family. Oh, yeah, yeah. I love that. Yeah. That is a good rivalry. Yeah, Sammy stole El Generico's entire moveset. Right. It's absolutely terrible, but when I was doing some research on this, basically it was like Steen and Generico were like kind of having trouble getting over in the company, and the Briscoes liked them. Right. So they just decided to start working with them and having these matches and everything, and it kind of put them on the map. And that was, I mean, you could probably ask them, they would say the same thing. You saw when Jay passed away, how upset they were about it. Like those guys helped these two break out in the business. So was it a shorter rivalry than a lot on here? But in the grand scheme of things, that rivalry gave us, I could be wrong, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens right now. I believe that rivalry gave us Steen versus Generico rivalry. I believe it did. Because they had... that was a fantastic rivalry, I mean, and it's still going on today. Well, I mean, yeah, it's the biggest love-hate relationship in wrestling. counters HBK and Triple H.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, they went through. They fought it in NXT. They've done it on the main roster.
See, I thought about putting that on. I also thought about putting the Steen and Generico one on, but then I'm like, okay, so they were rivals, but then they were like got together,
right.
and then they split and got together. So it was like such a weird dynamic.
It's like an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of didn't put Triple H Shawn Michaels on here either, because
it's the same thing. Yeah.
Their rivalry was fantastic, but also,
right.
Then DX came back together, and there was poop coming from the ceiling, and there was Spirit Squad, and
Nikki.
Such a weird time in wrestling, wasn't it?
There's been a lot of weird times in wrestling.
I guess that was foreshadowing that Vince liked poop.
Pause. Let's see here. I'm gonna go with. You're gonna be surprised I haven't said it yet. Cena vs. Edge.
Okay.
I was gonna do Cena vs. Orton, but I feel like Cena vs. Edge was a better rivalry because I remember promos of Edge just going, "I hate you, Cena. I hate you. I want you out of here." The ladder matches they've had. It was one of when Lesnar came back at the Monday after, I don't remember what WrestleMania, and he F5'd Cena a handful of times. Then they were going to have a match at Extreme Rules. Edge had to come back and was like, what are you doing? Where's the John that was in the rivalry with me? Why are you letting Lesnar do this to you? Where's the guy that I hated for so long? And that was that. That's what made me like Edge. Edge and Christian, they felt like, I don't want to say the parody of the three, but they if I was ranking those three, I feel like Edge and Christian would be on the bottom. Back then, I think now it would change.
I don't know, man. The Kazoos.
I mean, the Kazoos, them with Angle.
Hilarious.
The stuff with the when Angle would read stuff and they would have the opposite on the back.
I've always been a big Edge fan.
That shockingly, that rivalry made me like Edge, even though Edge went against my favorite wrestler.
Well, I mean, I can understand it. I'm not a homer. Like, my favorite wrestler right now, but I myself said that I felt like he should have lost to Punk.
Right.
Like, for the story.
Oh, there's times where I said Cena should have lost, or Cena looked too overpowered in that match.
Nah, I mean, we'll get into it later, but now you have the whole Drew getting into the angle with those two. It's very interesting.
Right.
But
I'm excited to see where that goes.
So, I'm going to go to one that is... I'm going to have to read off of this one, because I want to make sure I get some of these things right, because this rivalry was insane. Okada versus Tanahashi.
Oh, okay. Now where I was going. That's a good one, though. That's a good one.
So, doing some research, there was like over 16 meetings, and none of them were small. None of them were for nothing. So, in 2012, they fought for the IWGP title twice. 2013, fought for it twice. They were in 5 G1 Climax matches over the years. 2014 title belt, 2015 title belt, 2016 title belt, and 2018 they fought twice for the IWGP title.
That's crazy.
And I mean, they're both amazing workers.
Tanahashi, I believe, is the president of New Japan now.
Oh, really?
I know he's got a role up there. I'm pretty sure it's the president of New Japan.
But if we're talking longevity, if we're talking star power, because you don't even have to be a New Japan fan. You're gonna know those names.
Right.
That has to be one of the greatest of all time.
To go along with that one, I'm gonna say Okada Omega.
I have that too.
Okada,
so I'm glad you mentioned it.
There's other matches. Those matches made me get into New Japan. Those I've heard it countless times. I listen to Busted Open almost every day. Bully Ray says those matches is what made him be not an announcer on Busted Open. What's the word that I want? Made him be a part of Busted Open, because him and Dave LaGreca, who made Busted Open, had such differences on those matches. That is what made him become a part of that show, and those were just amazing. They're hinting at it now to even do more in AEW, but Okada Omega is some of the first New Japan matches I've watched.
Just to add on to Okada and Omega, in 2017 they had a 45-minute match, Wrestle Kingdom, for the IWGP title, and it got 6 stars.
Shout out Dave Meltzer.
Yeah, shout out Dave Meltzer. I mean, I don't live and die by the stars.
Right.
I mean, come on now.
6 stars when it's usually 5.
And then Dominion, they fought a 2 out of 3 falls match for the title, and that got a 7-star rating.
Their matches.
I remember that match.
Amazing.
That match was. I think I watched it like 4 or 5 times. It was absolutely insane. But
Okada's an amazing wrestler.
so is Omega.
So
Like,
is oh my god, so is Omega.
There's nothing you could say that would change my mind on that. He is
fantastic.
one of the greatest of all time. I was nervous about getting to those because I was like, I gotta read. I'm not gonna remember all that stuff.
That's hard stuff to remember, especially because if you want to watch a live New Japan, it's on at like 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning over here or something.
Well, also I don't want to say something and then be wrong about it and
then
have Big Mo call us out and like someone did.
Body slamming everybody.
So I got 3 more. How many do you have left?
Let's see.
Actually 4, but I'm saving one for last because I think it's the most obvious.
That's probably one that I have.
I'm not gonna look at your screen because I'm not a cheater.
Whatever.
I'm honest.
I have 5. I mean, I could think of one more in my head. That was an okay one.
You're like the Eddie Guerrero of podcasting.
That's fine.
I'm saying at least you have some talent.
I mean.
All right. So I'll go into another tag team one that I really think put tag team wrestling on the map, really, is the Rock and Roll Express versus Midnight Express.
Okay, I didn't think. Well, that's your. I feel like that's your era.
This is some old school stuff.
I feel like this is your era.
Just for an example, the Rock and Roll was the PWI Tag Team of the Year in 1986. Midnight was the Tag Team of the Year in 87. Like I said, they streamlined tag team wrestling. They, like how we said, how like Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, and what they did. I think for that time is like oh man, tag team wrestling is cool. Like yeah, the feud lasted from all the way into like the early to mid 80s, all the way well into the 90s.
That's crazy.
And it spanned multiple different companies. So I'm a huge fan of tag team wrestling, and I also have another one that's not just a one-on-one thing too. I'll actually just transition right into it.
Go ahead.
Because you're busy petting the dog right now. So
pain today.
She hasn't even done anything wrong.
You can hear her whining in the video.
Next episode is going to be me and the dog.
That's
Nola,
fine. That's fine.
And he'll be under the table. Whoa, hey,
whoa, pause.
Right. Demonetization coming in our future. So I got the Von Erichs versus the Freebirds.
You know, I watched something last night with the Von Erichs, and I went, "Oh my god, I don't have the Von Erichs on here." And I was like, "I kind of hope you did."
Yeah, I mean, not only are they both just historic figures, you know what I mean? A lot of talented wrestlers in both of those groups. And the one point that I really wanted to drive home with this, which changed the wrestling, is the Freebird rule.
The Freebird rule, which the New Day used for how long?
And if you don't know what the Freebird rule is, tag team wrestling obviously is 2 against 2. Tag team champions, 2 belts. So if you have a team of 3 people, like the New Day, like the Freebirds, 3 people in each of those groups, 2 of those wrestlers could defend a title for their group. It could be any 2 of those 3. So, for example, the New Day with Big E, Kofi, and Xavier, Big E and Kofi could defend them one night. The next night, Big E and Xavier could defend them.
I've always liked that too, because
it's such an interesting thing. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with kind of another company's Trish and Lita, Awesome Kong and Gail Kim.
Okay, I like that.
They wore. I believe I should have did a little bit more. I believe they were the main ones to bring up the women's title in TNA, because from before then there wasn't. And, what is he doing?
Oh,
you here?
I'm just sitting up straight. I'm pulling my shirt down. What do you want from me?
More than you can give me.
I think you should be a lot more concerned if I was pulling my shirt up. So,
They should be more concerned. Gail Kim versus Awesome Kong.
Okay, yeah. Back to the match.
Back to the rivalry.
Yeah,
that was one where you would see Awesome Kong in the back, or you would hear about her, and then that started off. That jumped their women's division because they didn't have one before that. Because at that time, even a little before that, TNA was using the NWA title. They didn't even technically have a world title. Their world title was the NWA world title. I feel like that, along with some of what the guys stuff, is what pushed TNA to get their own stuff. The Gail Kim still talks about it now that she loved the matches she had with Awesome Kong. And Awesome Kong is an animal.
Oh, she was fantastic.
Yeah.
And when she came to WWE, didn't she have to leave because she got pregnant?
It's kind of a rough subject. She got pregnant and then she had a miscarriage.
Oh.
And she went like psychotic.
Well, I mean, obviously that would be a terrible thing for anybody. But
right. That's what because she was gonna feud with the Bellas.
I think if she had a run in there, that would have been fantastic.
That would have been fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. She's phenomenal, and she was, I would say, way ahead of her time. She would thrive in this era.
Right now, oh god,
like with the women being in the forefront, how they are, she would thrive in it. But,
I mean, she
doesn't take anything away from what she's done in the past.
When AEW started, she was in AEW. I don't remember what happened. I don't think it was another thing like that, but she was only there for a couple months. But she was amazing for what she did.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I got another one that's a little old school from the NWA days.
I don't have any of those. This is what I like.
Yeah, well, you know who both of these guys are: Ric Flair and Harley Race.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So they had the PWA Match of the Year in 1983. Harley Race wins the title. Race was the Wrestler of the Year in 1983. They also won another Match of the Year in 84 at Starrcade. Let's see here. Race upset Flair in 83 for his 7th NWA World title run. So, like, this was not only just based off the rivalry. This was based around the title.
Right.
Who's the man?
Right.
Like, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man.
You got to beat the man. One of his monikers.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said it.
Obviously. I'm letting them know. They might not know that.
If you don't know, now you know.
Poor Amy.
The rivalry set up the first Starrcade event in a steel cage match where Flair wins the title back.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either until I did some more research on it. I knew how big the rivalry was because I've always been a big fan of Triple H. And Triple H would always say that one of his biggest influences was Harley Race. So I like to go back and see, like, all right, if I'm a huge Triple H fan, what made Triple H Triple H?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
Like, I want to know why things happen before they happen.
Right.
To why that happened, to why...
I want to see it from the beginning. I want to watch the whole thing.
Yeah. And I just feel like being, not a historian, because there's a lot of people I know a lot more than I do.
I mean...
But just going back in time and seeing how it's evolved is the most interesting thing when it comes to anything, really. But wrestling, I could spend
hours on.
So many rabbit holes.
Yeah.
So many rabbit holes.
I think the next one I'm going to skip this one because I feel like you have that one. I'm going to go with...
I have one left, and mine's the most obvious.
That's what I feel like that one is.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with... I'm going to skip the other one for now. I'm going to go with Young Bucks versus FTR. Because that feud even happened when FTR was still with WWE. They were feuding online.
Yeah, they were.
And
I'm a big FTR fan.
You're a big... And I mean, I don't know what they're doing now. They're a little weird. But I was a big Young Bucks Bullet Club fan.
Well, I think everybody kind of liked the Bullet Club.
Right. I mean, Bullet Club is this era's DX, NWO, Aces and Eights. Every company has that group of let me try to take over.
But see where the Bullet Club is, I think, different in a good way, is it ever evolves.
It does.
Aces and Eights, like you had some revolving members, DX, some NWO. Oh, the entire roster was on NWO.
The whole world was on NWO.
But like the Bullet Club, like you have leaders, and then you have new leaders, and then you have all.
I mean, the Bullet Club's going on right now, and it sounds bad. I don't know anybody in it, but it's still they keep. I think David Finlay, which is Fitz's son.
It keeps evolving, so it's like.
David Finlay is in it, but I couldn't tell. I think there's one other person I might remember. Gabe Kidd, I think his name is, who Omega fought when he came back. But the Bullet Club is always evolved. But it's not what we're talking about. Young Bucks, FTR. When AEW finally signed FTR and they shockingly showed up to help out the Young Bucks, everyone was shocked because everyone thought that was the biggest rivalry. I mean, even Cody was in on it because Cody would whisper on BTE. fuck the Revolution because that's what everybody said FTR stood for, which we know it's not. But they've had banger matches in AEW. I want the old Young Bucks to come back and do what they did. Go back because now FTR's with Edge. Sorry, with Cope. So now go back with Kenny and do
still Edge to me.
3 matches, three-person matches. It was just some of the stuff they did was amazing.
I can't cope with that name change.
No, it's dumb name change. I'd rather have Dewdrop back than Cope.
Let's not go there. That was terrible. Piper Niven is fantastic. Did not deserve that name. So do you have any more before we get into the most obvious one?
I do, and I thought of one as we're sitting here.
Oh, this.
The Main Event Mafia versus the Frontline. And that's why I kind of brought up the Frontline before. But the Main Event Mafia, Steiner, Booker T, Nash, Angle. There was a 5th one. And then the Frontline was like Joe, AJ. They're pretty much their top guys. It was their top guys against a bunch of legends. They even... The Main Event Mafia even made a Legends title that they said they were only allowed to wrestle for. But that they helped elevate so many young stars coming up.
I think that was important in their TNA's history too, is to be more innovative with things like that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, obviously, you're a company like that's coming up, or you're not on the level of WWE. So
you have to do something.
What are you gonna do besides having those like 3 main stars that we said that were untouchable? They're fantastic, but what things can you do to make yourself stand out? And I think they did a really good job with that.
So if you have the one which I think, I want to bang out a couple that I have on here because I want to end on what I think you have.
How many more do you have than me?
The Elite versus Inner Circle, because that pretty much started AEW. The Inner Circle was Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager. Oh my God, I can't think of the Santana and Ortiz against the Elite, the Young Bucks, Hangman, Cody, Kenny. I feel like that was the help for push of AEW in the beginning. I have Raven versus Dreamer, which I feel like is the feud of ECW. Because they took... Raven broke Dreamer's girl's neck, and oddly enough, Dreamer's married to her now, which is kind of funny as a storyline. Yeah, but, I mean, Tommy talks about that all the time. Even he's another one on Busted Open that he talks about that all the time. I think... I should have went order, but I think that's all I have besides the last one, which is...
Stone Cold and Vince McMahon.
I had it, and I knew that was going to be... That has to be the last. That's got to be the top rivalry.
Well, I mean, that is what really made WWE come and start to take over WCW.
Right.
When, like... What'd you say? I'm going to have you say it again, because you said it. You didn't know the correct number before.
86 weeks.
80, whatever.
I think.
But that was the start, the really true start. Actually, the true start of Vince McMahon even being like an on-screen character was the Montreal Screwjob angle.
Right.
Because before that, he was just a commentator. But having this boss who's just crazy in control, and then you have this star in Stone Cold who's just like, no, I'm not listening to you.
83 weeks. I'm sorry, 83 weeks.
83? Fact checkers.
Yeah. We're only fans. We're only wrestling fans. We're not experts.
You literally found a way to put that in.
I have to. I did. I had to.
You were proud of yourself for thinking about it.
I am. Shout out Only Comics Podcast because they did it on there and I thought it was funny.
Well, at least we're citing the sources.
I will.
No.
I mean, the one guy in there's a huge wrestling fan too, and I'm like, okay, like back to Stone Cold versus Austin.
Back in the nerd status.
Yeah.
The echelon.
Yeah. That, I mean, even before that, Austin coming up with like Austin 316, the beer truck, Vincent.
Well, I mean, the Vince and Stone Cold thing. You have the beer truck. You have the Zamboni.
The Zamboni.
You have
the hospital.
The hospital. You have when Stone Cold fake kidnapped him with the gun.
And you made him pee himself.
Yeah, and then he pulled the trigger and it said bang.
It said bang.
Like cartoon thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all these memorable things. And then it really like led up to the fact when they finally like teamed up together. It was like, what?
Yeah, what's going on? What are they doing?
But that didn't really last too long because eventually they went back to being rivals. But that was the start of the Attitude Era.
It was.
Those two against each other. Without the Attitude Era, I don't know if WWE would have taken over.
I don't think so.
WCW.
I mean, Stone Cold was the first wrestling shirt I got was a Stone Cold shirt.
I mean, WCW still probably eventually would have went out of business.
Right. They don't know how to handle money.
Yeah, they weren't very good with that.
Right.
And Hogan was there just taking
Hogan wanted to make his own rules and everything, but yeah.
Kind of sounds like what he did in WWE.
And in TNA.
And in TNA.
Wait, isn't that something? Isn't that a shock?
No, that's not a shock at all. We should ask the Los Angeles crowd how they feel about him.
I saw O'Shea Jackson. I don't think it was on his podcast. I think he was on another podcast. He was like, hell yeah, I was the first one to boo when he came out. He's like, I have a video of me, Travis Scott, and somebody else booing him.
And it has literally nothing to do with politics.
No.
I'm so sick of seeing online
because
everybody saying it's the politics thing, because it's not. Because
Undertaker is for Trump.
A Republican.
Right.
Triple H, Republican.
Right.
So why aren't they getting booed?
Right. It's got nothing to do with that.
It has nothing to do with politics. I mean, there's politics in wrestling, but typically the real world politics are left out of wrestling.
Right. They have nothing to do with it.
Unless we're going back in time and we're talking about
I mean, Trump is in the Hall of Fame.
When Sergeant Slaughter, turned on America and became Iranian, and then a bunch of stuff happened in the real world and they had to scrap that gimmick.
They had to bring it right back.
Because fans were going to, wanted to kill him.
Yeah,
legit kill him.
I remember hearing those stories.
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's all I have. That's all you have, right?
That's all I have.
That was good. I mean, it's hard, but maybe one day we'll come back to it. But that was really cool.
There might be a lot more that happened.
I'm sure there's a lot more that neither one of us are even paying attention to. I'm sure there's more going on right now in WWE that we're just like...
Hell, in a couple months, there might be better ones than half of what we put on this list already.
I'm sure there will be. Right.
And we don't know what's going to happen with the Cody and Roman saga.
Drew and KO doing whatever to the Bloodline.
Yeah, the whole Punk and Rollins thing. I mean, there's a lot more potential out there.
I mean, there's a rivalry just started this week with Corey Graves and NXT. So
Corey Graves and everybody apparently.
That's actually a good transition into outside of the ring, which is another segment we wanted to start.
Basically, that discusses anything that we see that's not on. Well, that's not a part of one of our topics or not on actual the show. So, for an example, one of the parts about it would be
Corey Graves not wanting to be a commentator on NXT.
This is a transition.
I know. I'm trying to pull up the tweet.
Okay.
Because he deleted all his tweets. I want to pull it up and read it verbatim. So Corey Graves put, imagine chasing your dream, then being told in all caps, not deciding that you're no longer physically able to pursue your dream. Then you dedicate your life to something dream adjacent and being pretty fucking awesome at it. And then when it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, being told you're not famous enough for your own job, just in case you've wondered where I've been. Because as we know, last week, Raw went to NXT. So McAfee came back, McAfee and Cole, which is probably the greatest tag team.
A tag team of announcers?
Of announcers, or tag team in general. And then I was sitting there wondering where everybody was actually going. And then when I saw Corey Graves on NXT last week, you can see he was just... You could tell he didn't want to be there. His head was down. He was whatever. Even when Vic Joseph was like, we're glad you're here, he was just like... And then he there was other tweets that got deleted. I didn't get to save them. He wasn't on NXT this week.
So,
I am hoping...
The ultimate question is...
Is it a work?
Is it a work?
I kind of want it to be a work. And him and McAfee have a match somehow.
I think it is.
Because there was rumors a year... Because he got cleared. He's cleared to wrestle now. They wanted to do last year at some point in time. They wanted to do McAfee versus Graves.
See,
because I don't think a lot of people know McAfee had matches in NXT.
But with this whole new era coming in, we've seen with a lot of different things that they're blurring reality in wrestling.
Right.
And I really feel like this is a work. If he was that mad, do you honestly think whoever's sitting in Gorilla is going to be like, all right, go out there?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
There was rumor, well, not rumors, fans saw him at the airport leaving to go back home this week. They saw him in MCO, flying back to, I'm guessing, I think Pittsburgh. I'm pretty sure he lives in Pittsburgh still.
Shout out PA.
Shout out PA.
I hope it's a work because I love his work. I said work a lot, but it has two different meanings.
Right.
That would be awesome to see.
Yeah. I've seen highlights of him and somebody versus the Shield, Seth and Ambrose.
No, he was really good.
I've never seen a match. He was tag champs with Neville. Maybe I think it was him and Neville against Seth and Ambrose because whatever reason the Shield came down to NXT. Because I think that was their thing, and they were like, "Hey, you're not going to take over NXT." But I'm pretty sure him and Neville were tag champs. That was when NXT was on the WWE Network. I didn't really watch NXT till it got mainstream.
Yeah, because that's when it. Because I remember Graves was actually in one of the 2K video games too.
As a wrestler? I don't remember that.
As a wrestler, but that was like I think, if I'm not mistaken, that might have been the first year they actually had like NXT wrestlers in it. Yeah, and he was one of them because I remember he was one of them. Sammy was one of them. But that was like short hair.
I feel like I remember Sammy, but I don't remember Graves.
Yeah, no, he was in one of. It was either the base game or like an NXT pack. But either way, it was like the first time that they actually had NXT wrestlers. And then now, like every game that they release every year now, they have like a ton of NXT people. Yeah. Not as many as they should. Just throwing that out there.
No, you're right.
We had to wait like 6 months to get Lyra and.
I mean, Bray wasn't even in this one.
Yes, he was.
Who did they add?
They added The Fiend.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, Bray was in it in the WrestleMania showcase. He was. They had a couple different versions of Bray. They had like the backwoods cult leader Bray. They had a Bray with an NWO shirt on when he had that match with Cena.
That's I've seen a thing where him Cena and Orton should have been like a newer NWO, and I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. That'd be cool. It doesn't even make sense.
They had a bunch of different, but they didn't have the Fiend, and that's what that pack was for. And I read somewhere that the proceeds to that pack, because they charge for it, even outside of the pass,
went to the family.
Yeah.
I mean, it should have
because like if you buy the the pass in the beginning of the video games, you get all the DLC free. I did that.
I usually do that.
Nerd. No, I meant me. Not you.
I got the deluxe edition, so
we're like the Good Brothers. Just call everybody people nerds from now on.
Nerd.
All right. So what else do you got from?
Do you want to talk about what you have from Netflix, and then I'll add on what I found?
Oh, so basically the note about Raw taking over Squid Game is the #1 most streamed show on the platform, which honestly, that's kind of a huge deal for how big Squid Game is.
That's an absolutely huge
deal. And then
deal.
like when it came out, like everybody couldn't wait till the Squid Game 2 dropped.
Right.
But then like you have one episode of Raw and it just overtakes that. Yeah.
To add on to that, there was 4.9 million viewers, 2.6 million households, that just sounds astonishing. Raw trended on X for 14 hours, and there was 223 million media views the day of the premiere.
That's insane.
That's insane. Absolutely insane.
The level of projection they got themselves with going to Netflix is unreal.
How many people, I don't even know if I told you or you heard, Leo watched Raw. Chris Hahn told me. Chris Hahn's like, yo, Leo watched Raw. And I was like, get out of here. He's like, yeah, he watched it. He was telling me about it.
There's a lot of people that watch Raw that don't watch wrestling at all.
I'm kind of surprised they somehow didn't get Austin on the show. Now that I'm thinking about it, 2 weeks later, a week later, whatever, because you've had Undertaker, obviously.
They tried to get Stone Cold for WrestleMania too.
Right. Maybe he just wants too much now or something. Or maybe he's just
chilling.
Maybe he's one. He's got a full-grown beard now.
Does he?
Yeah, I just seen the picture last night, I think.
Oh,
maybe 2 days ago. He's got a full-grown. Yeah.
I mean, what's wrong with the full-grown beard?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Can you grow one?
No.
Oh, we'll see. As time goes on, we're just gonna see how much of a beard he can grow.
I'm not gonna grow one. It gets itchy and I can't. This is not wrestling talk.
Bro, you're like Joe Dirt, aren't you? It just grows in.
No, it used to be called Malibu's Most Wanted.
Oh, wonder why.
What else do you have for outside? Do you have anything else for outside of the ring?
This is outside of the ring. This is not wrestling related whatsoever. Honestly, no. I was doing a lot of research over the past week on the rivalries, and I was kind of out of the loop on things that were happening.
So I'm gonna show you this.
Do I want to look?
Yeah, So one of the things, I've never been to it, but this is going to be a little... So I did a little preview on my channel of this channel. So I'll do a little preview of... I think I said that wrong. I did a preview of this channel on my channel, so I'm going to do a preview of my channel. This is in Orlando. This is Universal. Every year they do a Halloween Horror Nights. So like Disney does the Halloween party. They build... It's already buildings, but they make scary houses for like movies, their own IPs. Yeah,
I've seen a lot of clips on that stuff.
They want to do one on the Wyatt Six. That makes me. I've never done it because I've heard. I'm not a big horror guy. I'll watch horror movies, whatever. I won't do like those stupid like Field of Screams and all that dumb stuff. But something like that, I would go and do it if they want to do a house based on the Wyatt Six.
Oh god, yeah. Nothing would even scare me. I'd be excited.
That would be amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I would be so excited.
I saw that and I wanted to send it to you, and I was like, no, I'm going to show that. I'm going to save that for the pod.
Oh, you want to see live reactions?
Yeah, I want to see live reactions.
Even though we're taped.
That's fine.
Okay.
I do have one more thing, and I kind of wish there was more to this tweet. These moments are turning 10 years old this year, which makes me feel...
Oh, this was interesting.
The second one makes me feel old as shit. AJ Lee's final match. Okay. Seth Rollins' Money in the Bank cash-in.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Roman versus Lesnar, which obviously was the cash-in, too.
Yeah.
KO and Sammy both debuting on Raw.
Ooh.
And then Sasha Banks versus Bayley, which I'm guessing is... Because they don't even have a... Oh, do they have a picture of it? They do. It was the NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, which I think is when Bayley won the belt finally. I believe.
Well, that list did two things.
Intrigued you and bored you? That's fine.
No. Intrigued me and made me feel old.
No, that makes me...
I can't...
I know
some
there's...
of that stuff was 10 years ago.
I kind of want to make this its own segment. Like, obviously we can't do it. Maybe we'll do like every month. This is what happened. Like the end of every month we'll do, this is what happened this month. Because obviously we can't do... Like next month we can't do, hey, this happened 10 years ago.
We'll do it every year.
Okay, we could do it every year. If we were to do it every year, I got to make a bigger. We got to find a bigger list because there's definitely more things than these.
We're gonna do it every
year.
year. We're gonna have enough time to discuss it if it's yearly.
Yeah, but I'm saying like I would like to somehow make that a monthly. I saw that.
Obviously, because you can see the reflection.
What are we going to next?
Are you done with the weekend review? Do you have anything else?
I mean, besides the wrestling that we watched, that's pretty much all I have for the weekend review.
What about the Seth interview? What did you think about that?
I thought it was good. I shockingly didn't have that many notes for it, which makes me feel lame.
Well, I didn't really take many notes in it either, because I just thought it was that interesting.
So the best part, I just wrote down, wasn't the same coat underneath. Because he talked about when he took the blue coat off, and it was a blue vest and a blue shirt, and everyone thought it was another coat. I don't know why, but I was like, oh my god, I have to write that down.
See, I like, what I found interesting was, I like the out to knowing who the people are, too, who the wrestlers are. You know what I mean? Like, Seth Rollins isn't what you see on TV.
Right.
There's more.
Because he even said, he was like, this isn't, in our closet, Becky has 98%, I have 2%. But Seth Rollins has the whole other side of the house.
Oh, yeah. So, like, going into, I like when Chris asked him about his best friends in the business. I just kind of liked his list that he came off with.
Because he shot off Rivals, which obviously is going to make a good...
Well, yeah, I mean, technically speaking, I mean, him and Sammy are still talking, but he's throwing some shade at him every time they talk. But, like, Sammy, KO, Claudio...
Claudio was kind of a shocking one.
Roman and Mox, which, I mean, that kind of makes sense because of the Shield. But no, actually, so, like, I read that they used to travel together.
They did. They had episodes on Ride Along.
And they both have an obsession with coffee.
Seth has a coffee company. Oh, Claudio has a coffee company, too. Is it the same one?
That's what you said. That shocked me. But that's what they had. That they rode together. That's what they had in common was coffee.
Did they... Because they both have is it the same company that they have?
I don't know.
I know Seth has one. I know Claudio has one. I don't know,
but they both love coffee.
Did you...
That was just an interesting quid on like how they got like...
Did you kind of see the shady through at Orton a little bit? When they talked about the amazing RKO at Mania, the cash-in Mania,
yeah.
and he was like, "Yeah, Orton doesn't really like to practice moves," and he was like, "No, we'll just do it when we do it."
Yeah, because he said he was practicing with Noble, right?
Yeah.
Jamie Noble. That's kind of crazy to think that they didn't practice that.
I feel like he was calling out Orton a little bit of like, yeah, he's not really like a...
I don't know if he was calling him out. I think it was more so like, he's Orton. He don't have to practice.
I mean, yeah, that could be it. The only other thing I have, well, there's two things. Which obviously, I mean, he felt jealousy when Cody won. Because, I mean, obviously.
Yeah, but there's two types of jealousy. There's the jealousy where, why do you deserve that? I
Right.
should be it. And there's the jealousy like, yo, I got love for you.
Right. But
I'm happy for you, but I kind of wish it was me.
I wish that was me, yeah.
And I think the second one's healthy.
Right. No, the second one...
Professional, competitive jealousy, that's healthy. The unhealthy one is where you're going to take that and you're just going to turn everything toxic from it.
Right.
But I kind of understood where he's coming from that because, like, he did have the company on his back. Cody did come back. But, I mean, he said on that list that, like Cody is one of his boys. So
I didn't know they thought they were going to run out of time for the cash-in. When he started talking about that, I had no idea.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Because that was... He said that's when they were still on... That's when they were still, like, pay-per-view, so you had a set amount of time. They thought they were going to run out of time, and he was going to have to do it on Raw the next night.
No, that moment was...
That moment... Because I just remember him being up top, grabbing the belt, and swinging the belt around.
Foreshadowing, there will be probably greatest WrestleMania moments of all time.
Oh, God, yeah.
So that's going to be one of them.
That's definitely going to be one of them.
Obviously. It might be my number one, because, you know...
Obviously, that's my
the
goal. The only other thing that would have made that match better is if just to have all three of them in there. If it was Ambrose instead of Lesnar somehow, because because he even talked about it the one night. Who did Seth beat Roman for the title and then Ambrose cashed in on? I know Ambrose cashed in on Seth, but I don't remember who Seth beat the title for, because he even said that night felt amazing that the three of them had the title. So I'm guessing he had to beat Roman for the title then.
Maybe I'm not exactly
because he said it. He said it in the interview. I remember him saying in the interview because I thought he meant when he was the champ, when Roman was the champ, and then when Mox had the title in AEW. But then he said no, it felt good for Ambrose to finally get the title off of me cashing in.
It's funny like seeing how all those three are close, and that wasn't even really the original Shield.
Right. I don't think Cassius Ohno would have been a good fit.
No. Well, the Tribal Chief, like, I mean, obviously he wasn't that back then, but come on.
Right. He I don't even think he could talk back then.
No, he was decent, but I mean, he was, came from a football player, came over there. Like, obviously he had the athleticism and the
right.
and the look and the heritage, which plays a big part in it, but I think that is probably one of the best factions of all time.
Oh God! Oh my God!
But we're not doing it because we gotta save it.
I get mad that I never bought a Shield shirt. I get mad all the time.
We should get the masks.
I had those. We wore them
at the little half ones.
We wore them for Halloween one year at Lowe's. Yeah.
Without the shirt.
From Maine? Oh my God, no! From when they had them when they came down to Mania, with the skull on it. Yeah, we had them one year at Halloween at Lowe's.
Yeah, I've always wanted a shirt though.
I would kind of wish they would have did like a 10-year anniversary shirt.
Well, it's a little hard now that Mox is...
I think he was still there at that time, though. What about anything on TV that happened that...
On TV?
Yeah.
What are we talking about on TV?
I mean, did anything pique your interest? Raw, SmackDown, NXT?
Oh, I thought you meant still in the old, outside of the...
No. I mean,
segment.
I probably should have said we can probably see... I feel like we're jumping around, because as I'm looking at notes... I don't know if rumors is outside of the ring, but I had 2 rumors written down.
Well, let's hear it. What did you hear?
I saw Alexa Bliss is like ready to come back. They're like making a storyline. She's putting up she put up a new banner on her Instagram and everyone's like, oh my God, what's that? And she was like, it's just a new banner for 2025, but it's like a heart, a star, and like an eye or something. People are thinking maybe do stuff with the Wyatts. I don't want to see her back with the Wyatts. And then the other one...
Who are on SmackDown now.
Who are on SmackDown now, which is very weird.
Which they literally made a tiny little
the other
cross
one,
made the announcement. Nobody else did.
Right. The other one is Malachi Black maybe done with AEW, which this is like the third or fourth time now this rumor's been brought up.
Yeah, but he also
Every time he's not on TV,
he also needs some like personal time too, though. Like,
but there was so this can actually go into now the anything piqued our interest from Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW, whatever. Last week, not last night's AEW, last week's AEW was Ospreay versus Buddy Matthews. After the match, Ospreay won, but after the match he was like, "Hey, everybody, give it up for Matthews. You don't have to be behind Malachi Black. You're good. You can be good on your own. You and Brody King are amazing. You guys don't need Malachi Black. You can have a tag team. You can even get the world by yourself. If you need somebody, if you need help, I'm here. I got you. Don't worry about it. But you don't need Malachi Black." Then on Collision on that Saturday, I want to say Copeland went up to Brody King and basically said the same thing. Hey, you don't need Malachi Black. You're good on your own. It might have even been Ospreay.
so if they're putting it on TV,
It may have even been Ospreay. I don't remember, and I don't think I wrote it down who said it to him.
so if they're putting it on TV like this, then it can't be something that for personal reasons.
Right. Oh, because it was Brody. I wrote down Brody King versus Jobber. I don't remember the dude's name. I'm pretty sure it was Copeland. Hey, you don't need Malachi Black. You and Buddy, you're good on your own. You guys can pretty much the same thing Ospreay said.
So
maybe
he is
the rumors
leaving
are, right.
What coming back to WWE?
I mean, possibly because
Yeah, he had one of the GOAT entrances though. I'm not. Gonna
oh my god, the NXT entrance when he came up.
Yeah,
That was
and
amazing. The music was awesome.
It was fantastic.
I mean, his girl is here. I feel like
Because what I'm saying though is like if it was like personal things, like
Right,
remember he took off before,
I feel like that wouldn't have been.
they would
brought
never
up.
put that
Right.
on wrestling. 'Cause, like you don't want to.
I mean, even him and Andrade had a good rivalry in NXT, and even
Maybe
coming
he just
up
wants to come back and spend more time with his girl. And,
Selena.
yeah.
Yeah. Because now, I mean, this is at least the third or fourth time it's been talked about, but this is the first time where they were like, hey.
And he was a Triple H guy in NXT.
Right.
It was like Vince and stuff that they really didn't see anything to do with him on the main roster.
Right. Because he came up with Ricochet.
I believe, yeah.
Because they were like trying to go for like the tag titles.
I was always a fan of him though. So.
I was always that NXT entrance. That's another foreshadowing. There's probably going to be an episode, but that when he would just like come up with like the coffin,
Yeah.
that was cool.
So if we do an episode about entrances and we talk about Taker or Romans, it's going to be a pretty long episode, huh?
I mean, Undertaker did say he made long entrances when he knew the match was going to be bad. I don't know how much I believe that though. You might hear squeaking. That's just Nala being Nala.
No, it's really Dave.
So I went a little overboard for this week in wrestling and wrote down every match and like notes from all the matches. I'm not going to talk about all of them, just things that stuck out to me. Like last week, Omega came back on AEW. He wasn't in tears, but you could see him being, even though he debuted in New Japan the weekend before that, you could see him being caught up in it. Like, oh my god, I'm here. And then Don Callis, who was in like ECW, WC, he was in like I never knew he was almost in every company. He was the old school WCW, ECW. He came out, and then like his family came out to All Jump Omega. But then a rivalry we didn't really talk about, Ospreay versus Omega. Ospreay made the save, which was kind of weird because you're like, those two had a huge rivalry in New Japan, and now he's gonna save each other. SmackDown. The Heyman opening was pretty, when calling out Cody.
Yeah.
Roman's gonna enter the Rumble. Then KO's in the crowd and KO's talking shit, and you can see Heyman going, "Look at me, don't even pay attention to him. Like, we're here, don't worry about him." And then Cody just jumps and goes. And then you see Jacob and Tama just out of nowhere, and I'm like,
then
oh my
Jimmy
God.
gets involved.
Then Jimmy gets involved, and then Cody comes back down. I did notice, and I'm pretty sure the last time he wasn't there, he said it, but he didn't say "I love you" Solo this time. But I think when Solo was off TV for a little bit, he still said "I love you" Solo. I didn't hear him say it. One of the weird things I did catch is there's no more Prime bottles.
I did not even notice.
I noticed.
I mean, that sounds messed up. Like,
I noticed the end of SmackDown, and then that was one of the couple things I wanted to see on Raw, and I didn't pay attention to like the end because I don't know about you, but when Raw ended, I was like, "What?" I thought my feed cut out, or something. I thought something happened with my Netflix. because it just.
Well, did you see that the reports said that they wanted to end Raw at a little better of a time so the talent could get on like red eyes and get back?
I mean, it makes. But I was just like I like went to do something. I came back and I'm like, did I get kicked out of Netflix? What's going on? What happened? I didn't realize they ended at like 10:40. It was something. It was early. It wasn't 11. But that's when I noticed there was no thing there either.
I mean, we could bring up the really quickly the women's U.S. title match. That was good. So, I love Chelsea. I'm not gonna lie.
That makes me think.
Her gimmick is fantastic.
When they do like the draft after Mania. No, that's what it should be.
No, isn't it after Mania?
Are the women's and men's titles staying together? Like, are the U.S. titles, both U.S. titles going to go to... Because I feel like it's going to be confusing if the men's U.S. title is on Raw, but the women's Intercontinental title is on Raw. Kind of like how...
Are they still doing the draft? Because I read that they were...
Maybe not.
Thinking about being looser on this.
Maybe because of this trade window. Because they're not saying how long the trade window is going to be.
Transfer window.
They're not saying when it's ending. They're just saying it's an ongoing thing. So maybe they're not... I don't know. I thought about it the other night, and I was like, it would be weird if, like, the titles were switched up.
I think LA Knight losing was predictable after he got involved in that.
I love Nakamura's new entrance.
Oh, I do too.
Oh, but when he launched out Jacob Fatu,
yeah.
I went right there. That's how the match is ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good match. I love LA Knight. I love Shinsuke, but to me, it was a little predictable, but I mean... Getting more people involved in the Bloodline angle, I'm not going to be mad at it.
I did really love the match after. The Machine Guns versus 8-Town Down Under. I love both tag teams.
I do too.
Because that's even, when I was looking up TNA rivalries, the Machine Guns versus Beer Money was like one of the main tag team rivalries.
Yeah.
Because then when Beer Money broke up, there's another rivalry.
Yeah.
But I don't know why, I've always loved them in TNA, and I'm so glad they're in WWE now. And just 8-Town Down Under is so cocky and so arrogant. I'm like, oh my god, yes.
I've always been a massive Theory fan, so...
Yeah, you have. Theory, I mean, he was up here when he went to cash in the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was mad at him then. I was yelling.
Because it was
you kept talking trash on me.
Because it was just to Lashley.
Still, that wasn't fair.
No, but...
That wasn't fair. Who am I, like a 3-year-old? That's not fair.
I mean, then your girl Tiffy Time came out.
Yeah, Bayley's the new #1 contender.
Bayley also helped out on NXT this week a little bit, but we'll get to NXT when
she was making fun of Michael Cole on Raw.
I mean, that's the best. Oh, I did I did write down. I mean, Jacob Fatu always has amazing promos, but walking out, he was like, "This isn't Elm Street, Cody. I'm the Nightmare." I was like, "Oh, okay, all right, that's cool."
That was good.
Yeah.
Yo, watching his interviews from other companies and hearing him talking videos and stuff, like, Jacob needs the mic more.
Oh my god, yeah. And I feel like this is what's gonna do. I feel like when Solo comes back, he's gonna acknowledge Roman. But the Tongans and Jacob are like, "No, we're not doing that. We're not acknowledging Roman. We don't care that you lost. You said you were gonna do it. We never said we're gonna do it."
And then you can bring in Zilla to go with him.
I feel like when that match that he lost to Booker in Booker's thing was to get Zilla out of there, like his farewell.
Jacob, Zilla.
Oh my god,
they were the Destiny versus Roman, Jimmy J, and
Jacob and Zilla were a tag team on the Indies together. Yeah. Their finisher was amazing.
Yeah. And then the main event, obviously.
Cody and Jay and Jacob and Tama.
Obviously, the numbers game came into play into that, but I'm just interested to see where this is going. Like
it's
especially with KO involved now. Like, Roman wants to get back. At
Cody. You feel like with KO being involved, Drew's going to be involved a little bit,
possibly.
Because that was last week when he was like, "Watch your back," and then KO said that, and Drew came out, and then it was reversed.
So what about Raw? Anything stand out to you on Raw?
I mean, the opening with Punk came out, and then Seth came out, and then Drew came out.
I like Punk's little Cena name drop that he threw in there too, in the beginning. Yeah.
And then I want to talk about the first match because I've been a Penta fan since Lucha Underground. Even though, it's not lame, but as weird as Lucha Underground was, because it wasn't an actual...
I don't think it was lame. I thought it was cool.
Because it wasn't a weekly thing.
No.
It was... They actually had, like, a season.
Yeah.
And I don't know...
Show.
Right. I liked Lucha Underground a lot. A lot of people didn't, but so many people. Chelsea versus Penta.
Yeah.
Was some of the amazing matches from there.
Yeah, Morrison was there.
Morrison was there. Mysterio was there for a little bit. But just as soon as Penta came out and he did like the
Ricochet was there.
Ricochet was there as Prince Puma.
Yeah.
As soon as Penta came out with his walk, that a lot of people say he got from Scott Hall, but I don't really think he did.
No, La Parka used to do that walk.
You can just tell how comfortable he was. Yeah, there was a couple mistakes during the match. He slipped up once or twice. But I mean, come on.
I think
that was an amazing match.
I think that was excitement.
Yeah.
I don't think it was anything else.
It was
the man has been wrestling for
rush.
So long.
Right.
He was probably just the adrenaline just being
rush.
excited.
His whole family right there in the front
and
row.
look at his emotions after.
Right.
Too. And I want to say something that I see a lot of people saying that there was reports that there was people angry backstage that
and then that it went too long, and then the little mishaps in the
and then I saw more reports like as soon as last night that were like that's false.
Right.
Nobody said anything like that.
Nobody's gonna say anything like that either.
The man was like so excited.
Right.
With his family. You're in San Jose, so you have a large Spanish
and
crowd
even
too.
Ray did an interview and they were like, I've always imagined this is where Penta belongs.
Well, his just how he looks and like his entrance and his presentation is just so cool.
If Phoenix ever gets released from AEW and he comes over, there's going to be some amazing tag matches. Amazing tag matches.
100%. The Lucha Bros?
Oh my god, the Lucha Bros. I'm not going to say it. Well, I'll say it. Zero Miedo. But like him just trying to do it all the time during the match and oh my, like I just.
And the whole crowd doing it with him?
The whole crowd doing it with him.
Yeah.
Even I'm going to get it wrong. The 49ers dude that has like a Penta mask. I don't know. You probably didn't see it. I can't think it was Jason.
Something
George
Kittle.
Kittle, yeah. He was like, hell yeah, I've always been a Penta fan. Like
George Kittle is one of the biggest wrestling fans in the NFL. Like I saw one press conference where he had to cut it short because there was an event going on.
Yeah.
It was when they were on Sundays. But yeah, that was a pretty sick picture.
Do you think Lyra should have won the Intercontinental title?
Yes.
I think Dakota should have won it. I feel like Dakota's been there. The only thing Dakota's ever won is the tag titles with Raquel.
So what I think, my personal opinion, is Lyra is being pushed off of her ability because she's one of the best women wrestlers.
She is really good.
If you were going to push off the way you talk, like, why can't I think of the word that I'm saying? Persona.
Yeah, there you go.
Your gimmick. Dakota should have won, 100%. But in ring ability, no.
Lyra's is a lot better.
Dakota's really great.
Right.
Like, she's probably in the upper echelon, but Lyra is, like, in my opinion, one of... I don't know what happened there.
Choked up.
Choked up, choked out. Not sure what happened. Puberty?
Whoa!
Yeah, she's, in my opinion, one of the best female wrestlers on the planet right now, so...
How about Sami Zayn winning with Blue Thunder Bomb?
I cannot believe that he actually won.
My only comment underneath is Simon Miller's going to lose his shit.
Honestly, I always thought that the haluva kick into the Blue Thunder Bomb
was a good combo.
His good combo.
Right.
Not Blue Thunder Bomb. Always someone kicks out.
Right.
And then go into the haluva.
Always. Did you watch Raws up?
There's a rivalry. Sammy against the Blue Thunder Bomb.
Simon Miller against the Blue Thunder Bomb. Did you watch Raw Ups and Downs?
CM Punk against Real Glass.
There you go. So there's What Culture Wrestling is a YouTube channel that we both watch. Simon Miller is one of the guys on there, and he does a lot of amazing stuff. He's a wrestler. He does ups and downs on there. He always does a count of like how many times there was a roll up or how many times somebody said they were going to kill somebody. He's starting one now of how many times the Blue Thunder Bomb wins the match. He's like, I don't see it going past like 5 by the end of the year.
Well, we're at 1.
We're at 1.
We are at 1.
I mean, then you had the Rhea stuff coming out.
What do you think about the Gunther and Jay?
I don't know why you said Gunther and Jay and I thought Sheamus and Kaiser. Gunther and Jay.
Not.
I want to see Jay win the title. I don't think it's going to happen.
No. But I like the whole like, yeah, I did my thing with the bloodline,
right,
but I still want to prove myself.
I like how he was talking and everybody went yeet and he goes, no, hold on a second, let's not yeet right yet. I don't know why. Yeah, when you said that, I don't know why I thought Sheamus and Kaiser, because to me, Sheamus and Kaiser, I'm not over it, but like,
It's been going on for a while.
Yeah,
I'm glad to see Sheamus now getting a title shot.
To no avail. He needs it. He needs to win that for the
Grand Slam
champion. Yeah. He needs
he
to
just
win
needs
that title.
the IC title. And that's it.
How about the street fight? The Priest and Finn street fight.
I'm gonna say a hot take on it though. I love the street fight. I love both wrestlers. They're absolutely amazing. I just wonder, is it done now?
I kind of want it to be done.
Like, was this the payoff?
Right.
Because I feel like there's nowhere else to really